guys, this is Ben Zinn with nextlevelguitar.com, and today we have another of our Inspired by lessons for you. And today we're going to look at some cool chromatic moves that we can use in our chord progressions in sort of a classic sounding 70s vibe. Hey, before we continue on, please take a look at the link down here below in the YouTube text box. There's a link for a free video lesson and a corresponding ebook. We'll send that to you from nextlevelguitar.com, absolutely free. A lot of great stuff in there, so please check that out and we'll continue on. Okay, so to get the tone that we have happening here, we're using a clean tone electric. You can use whatever you have guitar-wise. The real signature sound that I have is a Leslie speaker emulation. And what a Leslie speaker is, if you're not aware of these, is it's a rotating speaker cabinet that organ players use. And it literally has a speaker in it that spins around, so it gets that sort of chorusy sound. Now, obviously, I didn't lug that big thing into our sessions here at Next Level today, so I'm just using a pedal to emulate that. And even if you don't have something that has a Leslie setting on it, you can do a fast rate on your chorus pedal or chorus setting on your amp, and you sort of get the same sort of vibe. And the idea here is just to kind of create a nice swirly sort of sound. Let's take a look at the chord progression that we're using today. And what we're essentially doing here is we're using pretty standard chord voicings, but we're doing some chromatic movement inside of the chords to create stronger tension leading to the next chord. I'll show everything to you first, and then we'll talk about the idea of the chromatic movement. So I'm going to start with just my cowboy chord here, open position D. Now I'm going to a D major 7. To a D7. And I did this little suspension move here. D7 sus4. Back to D7. To G. To a G minor. This is a little different in the open position. Start 3rd fret 6th string. Skip the A string, so skip string 5, string 4 open, 3rd fret 3rd string, 3rd fret 2nd string, and nothing on string 1. And then we're back to D. That's the first half of our chord progression today. Once again, D, D major 7, D7, sus4, back to D7, G, G minor, and back to D. Second half of our progression has us starting on a B minor, which is played up here at the starting on the 2nd fret, 2, 4, 4, 3. If you're playing the whole bar chord, you can bar across and get this note. Now we're going to play kind of a funky chord here. This is a B minor major 7. 2, 4, 3, From here, lift off your middle finger and you'll get a B minor 7. So 2, 4, 2, 3, 2. To an E chord. And to close, G for 1 measure, A for 1 measure, back to D. So let's hear that one more time all together. what's really cool about this sort of chord progression is just by adding a little tweak to it and making some chromatic half-step moves in our chords, we're spicing up some regular garden variety open chords. Now, what I mean by chromatic movement in the chords is, for example, starting with my D chord at the top of the progression. If I just isolated the one note that's changing in all of those chords, I'm just going down in half steps. When I go to G, a better way to illustrate this would be if I played G like a bar chord. Just for example, I have the 4th fret here, and when I go to the G minor, I'm going to 3rd fret here. Essentially what's happening in that chord progression is this. Just walking down in half steps. Now, because of the way that I'm playing my chords, I'm getting those notes on some different string sets, but you could just as easily see the same thing here. Chromatic movement there, just moving down in half steps. We see the same thing happen on the second half of the chord progression, starting with B minor. My chromatic move starts on the B note here, and I'm walking down in half steps. So that by the time I get to my E chord, I've landed on the G sharp note here, or the 1st fret. That's what it's all about. It's all about these half-step moves that you can experiment in with your chord progressions and create stronger tension leading into your next chord. So, that's our example for today, those particular chords. But what if, for example, I wanted to play that with a different chord progression? Let's say I was playing an A chord. What if I wanted to move up in half steps? Let's take this guy up in half steps each time. So those half steps gives us, a lot more tension in our chords and creates a nice sense of resolution when we get to our next chord. There's a ton of these great moves that you can use. Some of the ones that we learned today in our example are really classic sounding moves that you'll see in all kinds of chord progressions. So there you have it. That's all for today. Thanks so much for joining us today. Once again, this is Ben Zinn for nextlevelguitar.com. Make sure that you head over to the website there at nextlevelguitar.com. We have a ton of great additional stuff for you. What you see here is just the beginning. We have a lot of great stuff for you guys to check out. Over 1,000 different video lessons for beginners on up through advanced. So thanks again so much for joining us, and we'll see you back here next time.